Chief, for having me here. It's always such a pleasure to be amongst you.
First up, I'm a big fan, and I congratulate you on a stellar inning so far as a member of Parliament. And,
very kind of you.
We've been watching you and feeling very proud. We're talking about artificial intelligence today. A number of people have said in the past, and especially people who have thought up artificial intelligence, that it is the answer to natural stupidity. But actually, it is not. Those are just acronyms and antonyms that are attached to it. Artificial intelligence today is perhaps at such a stage, Bansuri ji, that at one point in time, maybe in 15 years, every company in the world will be an artificial intelligence company. So my first question to you is, the level at which this gain has happened, the level at which this progress has shaped up in the last few years, I presume, and I'm sure you're also under the same impression, that it's only a matter of time that every governance department is penetrated by artificial intelligence. How do you think that facet predominantly is going to improve the efficiency of governance? I'm not talking about governments, I'm talking about governance. How will that be taken care of according to you?
Okay, first of all, I think what Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi has said, artificial intelligence for India is aspirational India. So let's leave the fear-mongering aside. I know that a lot of Hollywood movies have actually entrenched it in our brains that Skynet is going to come and take over, that the machines are going to take over. But I think artificial intelligence, especially the adoption and fast-paced adoption of artificial intelligence, will ensure tremendous amount of efficiency in governance. In fact, there's a Niti Aayog report which says that in the next decade, by 2035, early adoption of artificial intelligence can ensure $600 billion in our growth in terms of our GDP. And that's a staggering number. Now, there are some hard facts. I don't see artificial intelligence as a substitute to human intelligence, especially to our emotional intelligence. But I do see AI as a very efficient junior officer. Especially because obviously AI can process data much faster. So when it comes to local governance, when it comes to grievance redressal, something which CP Grams is already doing, its integration with Umang portal has ensured that any kind of complaint or grievance which is addressed or sent to a municipal body or to a government agency can be processed faster. Plus, it will be divorced any human biases. The second aspect, I think, of artificial intelligence is that the dashboard itself can become a classroom. What I mean by that is, when we talk about sanitation, when we talk about water, when we're talking about electricity and adoption of AI in these particular departments, then any dashboard which shows you a data pattern, it will also immediately analyze that data and tell you why. So you can immediately fix a water leak. You can actually see on the in the grid where the demand for electricity is more in a certain area. For example, in a residential area, even during summers, the demand for water as well as for electricity will be lower in comparison to night because people are actually in their offices or in their shops or schools and colleges. So that will also help in redirecting of resources. It can also help you learn patterns to ensure that there's more generation. You can actually work towards generation of electricity in order to meet those demands. Indore, for example, is using AI to track real-time garbage vehicles. And you know that Indore has been awarded as the cleanest city in India, I think for 7+ years now. And that is because they have adopted AI to know where is it that to avoid flooding or overflowing of garbage bins, etc. So this kind of adoption of artificial intelligence will ensure not only efficient governance, but also make the governance people-friendly, make sure that the responsibility of the government can be actually addressed and people's grievances can be addressed in real time.
You're quite right about that. And when you started to respond to my question, you did mention कि डरने की कोई बात नहीं है. But of course, we as Indians, we always like to see at both sides of the coin. it's, after all, it's science. It's artificial intelligence. विज्ञान वरदान है या अभिशाप है, ये हम सब ने कहीं ना कहीं ये पढ़ा है बचपन में. At the same time, there is apprehension in the youth as well when it comes to employability. How is artificial intelligence going to redefine or reshape that access to employment, or therefore the lack of it when AI kicks in?
देखिए, सबसे पहले तो जब प्रगति होती है ना तो भय का कोई स्थान नहीं. Right? They say fortune favors the brave. वैसे नहीं बोला जाता. Let me tell you something, that ethical adoption of AI will ensure not job loss but perhaps upgradation of skills. आपको याद होगा 80 के दशक में जब कंप्यूटर्स भारत में लाए जा रहे थे, there was an apprehension that it's going to steal people's jobs. But now if you see, adoption of technology or adoption of computers has only ensured that the number of jobs and the nature of job has changed and the number of jobs has increased. I think similarly something is going to happen with artificial intelligence. I'll tell you, for example, coding has now become a redundant skill because the AI is doing basic level of coding for you as it is. But an AI can never ever substitute empathy, it can never substitute emotional intelligence. And therefore, you will see that even in very in AI-intensive jobs, people are actually looking for managers who have very high EQ quotient, because you still need ethical implementation. You still need monitoring of AI. And look, moderation is always there, and supervision is always needed for anything. I actually was reading a World Economic Forum report which says that while 83 million jobs might be under threat, and I'm using air quotes very responsibly here, so-called threat of substitution, do you know AI is also going to create 69 million jobs? And therefore, especially जो भारत का युवा है ना, वो बहुत entrepreneur है. आप देख रहे हैं, today we are actually the third largest ecosystem in the world of startups. Which means मेरे भारत का युवा, we are very happy to become job creators rather than job seekers. And AI is only here to empower that endeavor.
Let's also talk about participatory governance. Do you think that through the AI design there will be a forum, there will be a framework through which citizens, through participation, can come up with ideas? They can deepen this association, with the public and the government to come up with policy designs which would require, lesser time or lesser khapat, like they say, in terms of implementation.
Certainly. In fact, let's go back to proliferation of social media. Twitter or X, if you remember, became an instant medium for government officials and public representatives to become responsive to their electorate immediately. A 250 character tweet, you can seek help. In fact, people started, even government started leveraging it to reach out to people directly. आपको याद होगा पहले 3 बजे की press conference हुआ करती थी. I've seen my mother prepare for those 3 p.m. briefings. Gone, Now even if there's any particular message that somebody needs to sort of broadcast, people do it on their social media. I think with adoption of AI, especially because the Modi government with Digital India and India AI mission is already ensuring that there is an integration of technology with governance model as such. For example, you have MyGov portal. There are 60 million registered users there already, and MyGov portal is one where you can give your ideas, where people can actually sort of come up with, present their innovative ideas rather. Similarly with Skill India, with Digital India, we're ensuring that India is becoming a pioneer of UPI payments, or things like DigiLocker. In fact, I love using this example. In COVID, India was actually ensuring that our vaccination certificate was on our mobiles. सबके पास था ना वो कोविन ऐप, उस पे जाके आप देख लेते थे कि पहला डोज हो गया, फिर दूसरा डोज हो गया, फिर बूस्टर डोज हो गया. And even developed and advanced nations like the USA, वो एक कागज ढलकाते हुए घूम रहे थे. Yeah, they had physical copies. So what I'm trying to say is, AI will definitely make even the government more responsive, and it will ensure that any kind of suggestion, not just grievances, any suggestion given by the public can be sort of sorted out more quickly, because any suggestion or any grievance that comes from the people is technically nothing but data. It's a question, it's a constant cycle of demand and supply, right? The electorate demands and we ensure that we facilitate policies to fulfill those demands. AI will definitely help us not only sift it out, but also maximize it.
You know, they also say that the quality of AI will also reflect the quality of the data that is being put up every day. So obviously there's going to be some cleansing, some rehash in that department as well. Talking about how the government can work with startups, with civic bodies, academia, to basically integrate a system whereby which, these bodies, the private sector, more or less, can influence government decisions and facilitate the action that will come hither or after that. How do you think that's going to be possible?
You've actually raised a very important point about the quality of the data. I'd like to talk about that while answering the second question of yours. So artificial intelligence is also like a child. Conditioning पे बहुत ज़्यादा depend करेगा. किस तरह के संस्कार आप उसे दे रहे हो, right? We're all a product of our conditioning, and so is the artificial intelligence. We have to be very careful that the kind of data that we provide these models when we're training them devours any biases. In fact, I was recently talking about how AI is getting colored or marred by human biases. We were talking about gender biases that exist in artificial intelligence, and it was very interesting. I'm not going to name the company, but one of the largest e-commerce platforms in the world had to scrap their experimental AI model for hiring, because what was happening was it was fed data of very successful candidates who were all male. And therefore, any CV that came of a woman that mentioned a female sports team, or it mentioned any female college, automatically the AI would put it at the bottom of the pile. It wasn't that the AI model was rejecting women, it was just that it was trained on yesterday's data, so it was hiring on yesterday's pattern, it was building a yesterday's world, a redundant, archaic world, because it was not even noticing women. That is the kind of history of bias that we are coming from. But of course, today we are in 2025. So we need to ensure, when you're talking about public-private partnership, first and foremost we need to ensure that the kind of data that we are training the AI on devours any human biases, right? And we need to do that very, very conscientiously. The second thing we need to do is awareness. We need to make sure that people are aware of AI. People adopt AI without any fear. I'm an ardent advocate of adopting AI. And the third aspect is AI for all. And I'm very grateful to the Modi government for ensuring that in the Digital India and India AI mission, we are robustly working towards building an AI infrastructure for all. Accessibility of AI is very important. But what I love about my country is, it does not matter कि आप कौन सी कक्षा तक पढ़े हैं. हमारे यहाँ पर खास करके मातृशक्ति भी बहुत जल्दी टेक्नोलॉजी को अडॉप्ट करती है. We are the largest users of smartphones in the world. You know that. So, of course, we have the largest number of newspapers in the world. We have the largest number of news channels in the world. हम बहुत अवेयर कौम हैं, और इसलिए मुझे लगता है कि भारत में अडॉप्शन ऑफ AI बहुत आसान हो जाएगा. बस ये है कि सही तरीके से सही मैसेजिंग करनी है.
You know, before I ask you my last question, I still remember that conversation that the Prime Minister had with Bill Gates. And he told him, you know, that AI to a normal Indian is more like I, which means ma in Hindi. And he's saying that's the relationship that it will have with the entire society and civilization. It is going to be a steering factor for every Indian, because that's exactly what it will be. It'll be, I'll tell you what you want to know.
Not just that, because वो आपकी भाषा समझता है. You know, we're so fortunate कि भारत में हर 1 किलोमीटर भाषा और खाना दोनों बदलता है. Dialect भी बदलती है. And in fact, I would love to say this, that because हम 150वां साल मना रहे हैं सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल जी की जन्म जयंती का, हम 150वां साल मना रहे हैं वंदे मातरम का. I'm sure this is not a coincidence. ऐसे में AI वो एक सूत्रधार बन सकता है एकता का, जो जाति, धर्म, भाषा, रीजन से ऊपर उठकर केवल भारतीय को भारतीयता से परिचय करवा सकते हैं। एंड आई थिंक दैट इज व्हाई आपने देखा होगा जिस तरह प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी ने भाषणी को अडॉप्ट करा, जो एक AI लैंग्वेज मॉडल है, जो रियल टाइम में, मतलब आपने देखिए प्रधानमंत्री जी हिंदी में बोल रहे थे और भारत की 23 भाषाओं में भाषणी उसको साइमल्टेनियसली उसका अनुवाद कर रही थी। तो मुझे लगता है कि AI वाकई आएगी, परिभाषा बन जाएगी जैसे प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहा, क्योंकि आप मराठी में बोलना चाहते हो मराठी में बोलिए, अंग्रेजी में बोलना चाहते हैं अंग्रेजी में बोलिए, बंगला में बोलना चाहते हैं बंगला में बोलिए, वो आपके सब भाषाओं के आपके सभी प्रश्नों का उत्तर देगी। और जैसे मैंने कहा ना कि डिफरेंसेस मिटाने की एक कोशिश मुझे लगता है इस टेक्नोलॉजी के जरिए हम कर सकते हैं।
बहुत खूब। बांसुरी जी, आखिरी प्रश्न आपसे। विकसित भारत एक ऐसी फोर्स है, एक ऐसा इकोसिस्टम है जिसने काफी सेक्टर्स को गैल्वनाइज किया है। इट हैज स्टार्टेड दिस न्यू एनर्जी ऑफ सॉर्ट्स। हाउ डू यू थिंक AI, the rapid growth of AI is going to help us achieve that dream, or rather that aspiration of Viksit Bharat 2047? My last question to you.
थैंक यू वेरी मच विनीत जी। सबसे पहले मैं हमेशा कहती हूँ, ये जो विकसित भारत का विजन आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने रखा है, ये स्वप्न नहीं है, ये संकल्प है, और इस संकल्प को सिद्धि तक लेकर जाना है आपने और हमने एक साथ। में देख रही हूँ यहाँ पर बहुत बड़ी तादाद में मेरे भारत का भविष्य, मेरे भारत का युवा यहाँ बैठा है, और उनसे तो मैं खास करके कहूँगी that AI can actually help us achieve this aim very quickly, because it will save time, it will make everything, every process more efficient, and when it takes away the drudgery of data processing, it leaves more time for humans to be more human. So AI is here not to substitute human beings, it is definitely here to supplement human beings. It is here to ensure that from file pushers, we will become actually problem solvers.
Thank you so much, Bansuri. As articulate as ever, big round of applause for Bansuri.
Thank you so
much for taking out the time. Our probably busy schedule and speaking with us. Thank you so much.
Finish in 15 minutes now.